Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside.
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. Thank you for hanging out. And I'm reading the chat right now. It's pretty funny that Rob Hellner, who always complains about us being late, said that Spencer's probably out getting a pizza. I have a story about that, Rob. How are you, Joe?
Pretty good, because I just had a slice of pizza.
All right. Good for you. I've been eating a lot of pizza. So I have been dealing with a pain issue for the last couple of months, and physician offered me narcotics or suggested, maybe he has some patients who have really been helped out by CBD and THC combination.
Yes.
So I didn't want any narcotics. And I'm like, you know what? I could probably tolerate this for a while until, rehab is, rehab for, my body is complete. But then after a while, I was like, you know what? This really sucks, and I'm having trouble concentrating. So let me see what's up. I saunter over to the marijuana store, which is completely legal here in California.
Sauntered.
And I take his suggestion, basically a little prescription of what he suggested, which was like 1-to-1 THC to CBD. Now, in all fairness, not saying that I've never smoked pot, and I used to smoke it when I was younger, of course. But as an adult, it really hasn't been a thing. I joke around saying that I've been high as balls, before, but that's only very recently. Let's get to the pizza part. So I realized why all his patients are doing so well getting high for their pain. I realized that within the first week, because you smoke, and then half an hour later you order half the fucking menu from Domino's, and your endorphins and your dopamine and all that shit's kicking in. You feel nothing.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely nothing. So note to self, though, if I want to actually maintain some sort of sanity, keep my brain sharp, and not get, become like 260 pounds, I can't smoke that shit.
Yeah, because it leads to secondary fatness.
Well, yeah, and also it's kind of like, and then I kind of think I'm sitting there watching television. I'm like, why am I still working? Why am I worried about what's going to happen on Tuesday, or with the Global Hair Loss Summit, or with this or that, and when I say worried, why is it something that still is in my mind when I could just be getting stoned and chilling every day?
Wouldn't that just be lovely?
But that's the thing. I can't
worry about it.
But the thing is, I can't do it. I can't do that. I don't feel good about myself, and I don't feel good the next day, and I feel like I really would weigh 250 pounds easily, because you have no motivation to work out.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. If you were to do this all the time, you wouldn't give a shit. Problem solved.
That's true, and I would end up like some of the hair transplant doctors in the field.
Mrs. Doubtfire?
Oh, that is so wrong and funny at the same time, and no one knows what you're talking about. But yeah, that's so I'd say for the last 2 months, on and off, I've been, I'm really responsible. I'm a really responsible drug user. So he told me the certain dose to use, which these vape pens provide you with like a signal, like a buzz. I just take that specific dose. It doesn't make a difference. I still want pizza. I'm ordering fucking cake, pound cake, candy.
Before you continue, right now you got a stutter going on. Your image is locked in a short loop.
No.
You look like
that's my Tourette's really kicking in.
It actually looks like Tourette's.
All right, here we go. Let's see what we can do here. I may have to unplug and plug the camera. Let's put the camera on Joe, and Joe could continue the conversation. Go ahead.
Well, I can't continue your conversation, but I can initiate a new conversation simply because I don't have that issue. I wish I did. Like, if I was in a position where I was doing something that I enjoyed immensely, but I felt bad about it afterwards, I just keep doing it. Problem solved. But anyway, no, so there's some people in the chat room that are asking about what happened last week. Well, what happened last week was my co-host over here was a bit well, you can't see him right now, but he had a guest in town, and he forsook the hair transplant and hair loss community for his own personal selfish needs. So that's why we weren't on. But you know what? We also got a lot of stuff to do. So I got a lot of good work done, working on some more videos while he was living it up at a restaurant in Beverly Hills. That's how he rolls. That's how I roll. We'll let you guys judge. Is he back? No. I saw him popping back. Anyway, let's see what else is going on in the industry. Not a whole lot, and it's kind of sad because, well, let me back up. I'm making some videos about the industry, and I put a poll on my on the community tab of my YouTube channel where I'm asking for your input. Would you like to see some more basic videos where I'm talking about things that you may read about or hear about all the time, but you don't quite know what they mean, such as like terms and definitions? I got an idea to start making more videos about those, but then the poll is also asking, no, no, just keep doing, actually I forgot what it was, just keep doing what you're doing. And then the other one was yes, but don't forget about HT class and introducing new clinics. And the poll right now, it's actually kind of interesting.
Dude, spit it out, Biden, will you?
Huh? Biden? What are you talking about? Don't even. What is the? I forgot what the poll says. Yeah. So yes, I need to have a refresher on these courses, or these terms. No, keep debunking stupid techniques. That's right. And then the third option, yes, but don't forget HT class and new clinics. And right now, that's leading the pack in the polls with 37%. So far it looks like I'll make these videos. I already shot some, but of course I won't forget HT class and introducing new clinics. I would never do that. So anyway, welcome back.
Thank you. There it goes again.
Yeah, there it goes again.
It's unfucking believable, man. This piece of shit equipment. Can you hear me?
I'm telling you. Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
All right, well, listen, this is just good practice for you. Answer some questions in the fucking chat. Do something, Joe.
Let's see. Okay, well, the first question I see is Michael L. What do you know about Olumiant? Olumiant. I haven't even heard of it. No clue. I don't have time to look it up. Let's see. Any questions? Guys, you got questions for the chat room. Now's the time to put them in there. Yes, Mr. Rolandis, Spencer does need to upgrade his stuff. I agree. Because then we wouldn't have situations like this. Let's see. I don't see any questions so far. But it's kind of early in the game. Yeah, Mr. Rolandis, definitely need a refresher. And that was my thinking. It's like I was watching a video of another hair transplant, hair loss YouTuber, and he was using some terminology that didn't fit the actual subject. And it just kind of gave me this idea. It's like, you know what? I got the largest terms and definitions or glossary of hair loss and hair transplant terms on the internet. Why not use that as a baseline to move forward with videos that explain what these simple terms mean? And there's nothing wrong with not knowing what all these terms mean, even though they're simple, because no one really has time to figure this stuff out. But yeah, it just kind of reminded me that that's a necessary endeavor I need to undertake. All right, your camera's looking good.
I can't guarantee it's going to hold. It's either a problem with the HDMI connection or a problem with the external video capture card that Andrew Zarian was able to get for us. which are really good. It's really good stuff, but the equipment's old, just like me. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. Yeah, I've been told I resemble Max Headroom or hair drum.
Hair drum.
Let's take a phone call.
Good.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
This is Doug, and I'm calling from Dallas, Texas.
Doug.
Hello, Doug.
Welcome. How are you?
Good. Yeah, let me kind of, I guess, just kind of describe where I'm at in my process around kind of evaluating hair loss options. So I'm actually 60 years old.
You don't sound a day over 59, dude.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
That's good.
Yeah.
I try to stay youthful.
Yeah.
But
good for you.
But no. I've had progressive hair loss probably since I was early 20s, but it was it's pretty steady. But I never it's never gotten to looking at the Norwood figures. Probably now at 60, I'm probably at a 4.5, maybe between a 4 and a 5, maybe. So and personally, I've had a very, I've got a wonderful wife, good family, successful career, et cetera, et cetera. So
why are you calling us?
Well, because my consideration now is really, just purely vanity, right? I mean, I look, and I think you guys mentioned it today about, doesn't matter how old you are, it kind of stays with you. And so I'm at a point in time where I could have something done, and I know it wouldn't be, based off where I'm at and what my realistic expectation is, would not be something that would be crazy. I mean, I've actually met with a surgeon down in Austin, which if I told you his name, you'd probably recognize him.
Okay.
But he
it?
gave me a consult. His Dr. McGrath.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. And he gave me a consultation, said I was a very good candidate, good donor hair, et cetera. So I think my expectation would be that it would be reasonably done well, and based off the fact that I have a realistic expectation, I don't want to look like I'm 20, 30, 40. I mean, just really kind of adding on the top.
Why don't you want to look like you're 40 years old? Like, what's the point?
Well, the point, for me, I think a little bit of addition would be good, but I'm physically fit. I still look pretty good, I think. At least my wife tells me that. And I think a little of adjustment on top, and he mentioned, Dr. McGrath mentioned 2,000 grafts. He could do it in a day. Mm-hmm. I'd be very pleased with the results. So I'm at a point now. The first question I have is, at this age, does it matter how old you are, or do you have less of a opportunity to? Okay.
No, it doesn't. And let's back up. So first off, you're saying that it's just down to vanity. That's all it ever is. Like no one needs to get a hair transplant aside from the reason of their weakened vanity. They want to improve their looks, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's the only reason why this procedure exists. It's not like it's a medically necessary procedure. It's all about looks, aesthetics, cosmetics. That's it. Period. Full stop. So so don't you don't need to be ashamed of that or feel odd about that, because that's what everyone gets a hair transplant for. There's always extenuating circumstances, but that's why it exists. But the second thing is, you're 60 years old. You're physically fit. You're feeling good. You're looking good. Why wouldn't you want to look younger? And before you answer that, getting a hair transplant by reducing the area of hair loss on your scalp, that automatically by default makes you look younger. It just depends on how much younger, which is based on how much hair is moved and how low the hairline is and all that stuff. But But just even a 2,000 graft surgery on someone that's a Norwood 4.5-ish will make you look younger.
Yeah, Dr. McGrath said 10 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that's reasonable. And that's reasonable. But at the same time, why wouldn't it look like you're 40? It doesn't mean like it has to be a whole lot more hair that's moved. But I do question the assessment of your Norwood status with the number of grafts that are recommended. So my question is, what is the outcome other than you'll be pleased with it that you were told that you'll have?
What will be the outcome in terms of me personally and how I would react or feel about it?
Well, I mean, how was it described to you what the result would accomplish other than you being happy with it? In other words, would it give you a stronger lower hairline and full coverage over the entire hair loss area, or would it address just a specific area and not address another? Like how was this laid out for you?
Well, he definitely said he would go with my procedure, basically FUT. And he feels that that will give me a more dense look, especially in the frontal area. So really, and maybe he didn't basically tell me what my number was. I mean, I'm just looking at the graph trying to figure that out. But maybe closer to 5 between 6. Maybe that's it. I looked at it the other night again just to reference it. But
so let me pause you right there. But before you continue, so when you look at the hair loss scale, you see yourself as being maybe a 5 or a 6, which means that your crown is bald.
Yeah.
Like it's a big spot in the back.
Yeah.
And you may have a little bit of hair across the very top, like a bridge, and then you're bald from that area forward, correct?
Just very little forward. But yeah, I would say that's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So then what kind of coverage were you led to believe you'll get with 2,000 grafts?
Well, I think he was really talking about the frontal lobe, and working that area kind of maybe as a receding hairline. I mean, we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't obviously start carving out diagrams, but I mean, he was describing that. But he felt that with what I had to work with, that he could create that frontal line and move it back as much as he possibly could with the donor with the 2,000 grafts. I still perceive that I would have kind of a thinness or a baldness on the crown, right? And that would. And that would be, for me, it's not a big deal because I've dealt, like I said, I've dealt with this and less for a long time. But it's just, maybe the frontal is more important to me than that part of the scalp.
Well, it is for most people, and I've been in situations where I've consulted a patient that was in your situation. They have a lot of hair loss, and the plan was for them to have 2 surgeries where it might be 3,000 or 4,000 grafts for the front, and then we say you come back and we'll do 2,000 for the crown after 1 year or whenever you want to come back. But then after that 1 year is up and they come in for their follow-up, they have no interest in the second surgery because they're happy. They don't see the back. It doesn't bother them. They only see it in pictures, which they try to avoid, So, and I get it. I totally understand that. Like I was at that point one time myself where after my first repair surgery, I thought, I don't need, I'm done. Like I look like a normal guy now. I don't look like a circus act. And I felt good about it. I mean, we all, it didn't turn out that way for the long term. I obviously got more surgeries, but a lot of guys do stop at 1. But my ultimate question on this is 2,000 grafts enough for you for the front? Because that's assuming you are in that area that you're talking about, that's not a lot of hair for such a large area of loss. And I'm just curious what was said about future procedures, or was that even broached as a subject?
No, that wasn't really even brought up. I mean, he basically had mentioned that we could do this in one day. I mean, it would be a full day's work. And that he would look at around 2,000 and then started kind of describing what I could expect. Because I guess my point, my thinking is if I would do this, I mean, I'd like to do it and get it done in one session, whatever that requires. And I know there's some limitations there around what can be moved and that type of thing in one session. But I would not be looking to go back and, at least I say this now, and I'm sure everybody says this, but, go back and have a fine tune or additional grafts put in towards, the middle or back of the scalp, that type of thing.
So I missed some of your conversation with Joe because I was trying to fix my ancient equipment, and I'm not convinced that the camera's not going to give out in a second anyway. But I heard him kind of, tuning you up a little bit, as Joe likes to do. And I think the fact that you're 60 years old, that you've survived this life successfully all these years, dealing with your progressive hair loss. I mean, if you are a candidate for hair transplant surgery, and if you have realistic expectations, in my view, you could drop dead in a year. Maybe you can enjoy, that's how I feel about it. I'm almost the same age. If you're willing, if you know the entire scope and possible pitfalls of this surgery, if you're willing to take the risk, knowing that you might end up worse off, rarely, but you might end up worse off than where you are right now, if things don't go well. And if you are comfortable with the idea that it's possible that one pass won't be enough, then I'm not saying that it won't be, but it's possible that once things grow out, you'll be like, I see a couple of 2s or 3s in the hairline accidentally. Maybe there was a rogue telogen hair in one of the grafts that was implanted that wasn't seen. And, maybe I need a little refinement. That's always a possibility. If you're aware of all of this, that it might not be one and done, then you're a big boy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to do what, I don't know if you agree with that, Joe, when I'm telling this guy. Like, we always say surgery is the last resort, but I think once you hit 60, and if you really want something at this point, as long as you do your due diligence and know what can be achieved with your particular set of circumstances and hair characteristics and the doctor you choose and the staff that they have, then a guy his age, in my view, makes a better candidate in general than somebody 3 decades younger.
I agree 100%, but my overall question was, and he answered it as far as what his thoughts are on the future. It wasn't discussed, and I feel like it's incumbent upon every clinic when they're having a consultation with a patient, especially in a case where it's more aggressive hair loss, like the caller, that the second and maybe even third procedure needs to be mentioned.
So
as a possibility.
How aggressive? What Norwood pattern is he? I missed that. I was trying to fix my shit.
He said he's finding himself between a 5 and a 6. And it was recommended he gets 2,000 grafts.
Oh, so you've lived all this long, and you're a 5 and a 6. I thought maybe you were just like maybe a 3. So you've lived this long. You've gotten married. You have a successful career. You seem like a really together, happy dude.
Yeah.
2,000 grafts isn't going to do shit
you
for
may
you.
not have you may not have heard this early, but it's pure. It's pure vanity. I mean, I just feel like I've always tried to be, always try to look good. Always, And I've kind of always put the hair loss to the side and did what I could. But I'm at a point now where I can, I can get it done. I've raised my kids. Maybe if it makes you feel good and you feel better about yourself and being able to do it, and you look in the mirror and you say, wow, you've recaptured a little bit and you enjoy whatever the years are left,
and that's a reasonable, that's a very reasonable outlook. And I think part of the outlook is created by the way cosmetic surgery in general is being promoted through social media and through the mainstream media, and that essentially, we're at a time now, it's 2021, where we can tweak ourselves or hack ourselves in some way and, make ourselves younger, appear younger. And that's all true. But there's a lot of limitations. And when it comes to hair transplant surgery, there are even more limitations than, say, you wanted to get some calf implants or some shit like that. You know what I mean? You're moving, growing, living organs from one part of your body to a part of the body that hasn't grown hair in a long time. And every hair has to take, every graft has to be handled meticulously. Everything has to go right for this particular surgery to make, to get you to where you want to get emotionally. Moving 2,000 grafts that's a safe approach if you know that you're going to be doing this in stages. But if you are actually a Norwood 5 to a Norwood 6 at this point, you will not be happy with that procedure. Even if everything goes well, you're going to be a Norwood 6 with a smattering of a decent hairline that you're going to be able to comb back, and that's about it.
Interesting. Okay.
And then the next step would be, I like the way this grew in, Doc, but I would like some more. And then they're like, yeah, we can do that. I'm glad you liked the first procedure.
Sure. Yeah.
We'll do another 2,000 graft procedure, and that's another year out of your life. So by the time you finish this, you're going to be collecting Social Security.
Yeah.
And that's the reality.
Well, that's interesting. That's an interesting point. And I thought before I would do anything, because my consultation was really pre-COVID, right before COVID. So obviously that was, any decision I was going to make at that time was put on hold through the pandemic. So as I now kind of rethink it, I need to get back in front of the medical doctor and let him look at.
Well, and here's the thing. I want to make this clear to you too, because you may not know this, but Dr. Dan McGrath is part of the IHRS. He pays my company membership dues to be a part of this. So if I wanted to, and what other people would do would be like, yeah, great doctor, go have fucking surgery. But he knows, because he's an accepted member of the IHRS, that I'm going to tell anybody who had a consultation with him the truth. And if they're not candidates for surgery, as far as, if they don't understand the entire scope and possible pitfalls, I'm going to let them know that information. And I think given what you've told us, I'm not saying you're not a candidate. It sounds like you probably are a candidate, given your age, depending on your hair characteristics. I'd have to check out the donor myself. But if Dan says you're a candidate, that means you are. But it may not be what you expect, depending on what your realistic expectations are.
I'll give you a quick formula to plug into your own situation on what I feel, based on my experience, the average patient needs as far as numbers to get a relatively worthwhile result as far as coverage, not so much density, but coverage. And I'm talking about, all Norwood levels. So I usually tell people to for every level of Norwood that you are, being Norwood 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, apply between 850 to 1,250 or 1,300 grafts per Norwood level to get to decent coverage. Something that you can work with, something that you can style, and will truly make a big difference aesthetically. And in your case, 2,000 grafts that math doesn't work.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just doing rough calculations, or even at 1,250, that would be 5,000, right? So,
but it's I can guarantee, or I can pretty much guarantee, given it's the right day, that Dan McGrath could provide you with a natural looking result. That it could stand alone, where it wouldn't look like, oh, this guy's got plugs, he needs more work done. But at 2,000 grafts, it's probably not going to be. You're not going to have the styling options that you would like.
You want more.
Okay.
You would want more. You're going to be like, oh shit, this really works. I need more.
Yeah.
Okay.
But and there's nothing wrong with getting 2,000 grafts, as long as you understand that you'll need more to get what most people would consider to be a proper result for your degree of hair loss.
Yeah. I also think it's responsible for physicians to, in many cases, to kind of offer smaller to medium-sized procedures. In the end, I think it's a safer route. If things go wrong, or if it ends up you have some sort of physiological anomaly where your hair doesn't grow, you're not throwing away all your grafts, or if there's a bad day, you haven't lost all of your donor. So there's a plus size to doing smaller procedures as well. A plus side, I should say. Not plus size. Jesus. Plus size has been on my mind lately.
And there's always someone in the chat room will say, no, that's not true, or that's not absolute. Sean D, that formula isn't absolute. No shit. That's why it varies from 850 on up. It's like, I didn't say it was absolute. There's so many variables involved. That's why there's a range of numbers. Gee, there's always one guy.
Anyway, this would be my advice. If this is something you really want to get done, speak to Dr. McGrath again. You can even have other, consultations, even online, to just kind of gauge where other doctors think you are, and what they're going to assess what you need is at. And, Jesus. And, don't rush into it. That's it. But I will tell you that this will be at least a 2-year process for you.
Okay. Well, that's good advice. Yeah, I appreciate that, and I will. I mean, I think I'm at a step to get maybe somebody, to do a second opinion, but also go back to Dr. McGrath and get a realistic expectation based off the way he has presented it initially, what the final result may be.
And look, he's a super nice guy. He cares about what he does, and like I said, maybe he's a little bit on the conservative side, which is not a bad thing. But you just have to understand once you're cut, and what you're getting involved in. And this is probably going to be a longer term process than you're hoping for.
Got it. Okay. Well, thank you guys. This has been fantastic. I appreciate all the information.
Absolutely.
And don't feel bad. Joe yells at everybody.
Okay.
Thanks for the call,
guys.
man.
You have a good evening.
Take
good
care.
luck.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Phone number is 888-659-3727. 888-659-3727. Like, just what I need. This conference is coming up, and the equipment is just falling apart. I'm going to have to order shit now. Joe, it never ends. Maybe I should just smoke dope and retire.
It never ends. Well, the longer you do, the better you'll feel.
I have a feeling, though, honestly, I don't know how people do it every day and live their life smoking marijuana. I mean, I'm pro legalized marijuana and all that stuff, but I don't understand how they live their life because you can't get anything done.
Exactly.
When I wake up in the morning, I'm just like, holy shit, I need 4 cups of coffee. I need to exercise before I could take a phone call or do what I would normally do, like straight out of bed.
Dude, I met this couple at a party like several years back, and they were starting their own company where they were offering edibles, like really like gourmet desserts. Little cookies and stuff, and it was really good stuff. And they brought samples to this party, and so they gave me. Man, I was done. I had one edible, and I was done. I waited till the next day. I took it like around noon, and I was useless.
Dude, Common Law brought home a chocolate bar from a friend of hers, and I'm like. I had never actually had an edible, believe it or not, which I know sounds hard to believe because I'm such a degenerate. But she says, so-and-so said, you just take a little piece of this. Don't eat a lot of it because it's stronger than you think. I'm like, I'm a pro. I used to smoke pot. So I eat like half this chocolate bar. And within about 40 minutes, I'm like, look, you got to call 911. Call 911. Dude, I was tripping. It was like I was honestly hallucinating.
That happened to me once.
I was fucking terrified.
I didn't realize what I was even eating. I was at the Oregon Country Fair 20-something years ago. It was a big hippie fest, and someone brought their own homemade peanut butter.
Oh, my God.
And they're like, yeah, sure. Oh, you want some? Sure. And I was like, oh, yeah. I took a bite. It's like, oh, that's interesting, but it's good. Later on, it's like, hey, let me have some more of that peanut butter. I kept eating the peanut butter. And they didn't tell me what was in it. And I kept eating it. And, yeah, the whole weekend I was done.
Yeah.
I was done. I was seeing things. I was hearing things. I had a great time.
Yeah. Well, I didn't. It wasn't a good experience for me. So that will never happen
apparently
again.
not.
I would never eat
never
that shit.
happen again.
Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hello?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hey, God. Hi, nice to meet you guys. Sorry, first of all, I love the show. I appreciate you guys taking the call. So I really do appreciate the information that you guys put out there. It's really helpful to young guys like me.
Thank you for saying that. What's your name, man?
Thank you.
My name's Austin. Yeah, no, my name's Austin. I'm calling from New York City.
All right.
So I had a question. So I'm in a little bit of a predicament, not sure what to do. I respect your guys' opinion. So I was on Propecia. Yeah, I was on Propecia for about a year and a half. My hair loss was progressing pretty rapidly. I'm probably progressing to trending like a Norwood 6. So I opted for a transplant, and I thought, the Propecia is going to hold on to the hair. Good deal. And I guess 7 months after the surgery, I started getting bad side effects off the Propecia, so I had to stop.
What were you getting?
Now I'm kind of in a bad situation.
What kind of side effects?
Just no, it's fine. I was getting bad ED, and just libido was just. I just noticed it going down, and obviously I know I'm not trying to fearmonger. I know that side effects are really rare, and I understood that.
Yeah, it's very real too. I mean, people listen. There's a reason why it's on the label. And there's a reason why there's plenty of people can't tolerate it. Normally, the side effects come on earlier than later, but in some cases, it could be a few months into the process.
Yeah.
So
I guess, now I'm in a weird situation where I got an FUT procedure. I have this, pretty big scar in the back of my head. And, I'm definitely willing to go for more transplants to get the full coverage and density. And I know it's not going to come. I know, I'm younger, unlike the last caller, so I know it's going to take a couple of surgeries. I know that there's a cost involved. I'm willing to space it out. I just turned 27.
Okay, and are you saying that the last caller was old? Is that what you just said? I'm just kidding.
Well, he was a lot older than me, so I guess his situation's a lot more different than mine. Right?
No, I'm just fucking with you, kiddo. Listen, I can tell you this: that there are a lot of guys who. First of all, being on medication is pretty important. So while you didn't tolerate finasteride well, there are other possibilities for you that you might tolerate. One could be a topical finasteride preparation. That might be very helpful. There are also a lot of doctors now who are prescribing oral minoxidil with some pretty significant results that you can talk to your doctor about. But if you're going to make this investment and you're young, it's a long-term plan. If you can be on some medication to slow down the process or reverse the miniaturization process and to hold on to the native hair that you have and keep your grafts growing robustly, then that's what you want to do.
Okay. Well, I was going to, if you guys don't mind listening to my plan, I guess I want to maximize my donor, obviously, and I'm glad I started off as an FUT. So I did an FUT with, Dr. Bloxham, a fellow in Bloxham Medical in New York.
That's what they specialize in.
I got around. Yep. I'm very grateful for him and his work. I did roughly a 3,000 graft procedure in the front. Hopefully looking to do another 3,000 graft procedure to cover the back. And I know I'm familiar with Joe's YouTube channel. I know, so I was hoping after that, assessing where I was at, and then seeing potentially going up to, Dr. Hassan Wong for another FUT to do some refinement, and then I would assume after 3 strip surgeries, my laxity would be gone. So
why wouldn't you go back? Why wouldn't you go back to Bloxham?
Yeah.
Not that I would probably go back for the second procedure to Bloxham, but I've seen Dr. Wong's work as well, so I wasn't sure getting someone else to look at it too was pretty helpful, and that's someone who's respected in the community. That was my thought process.
I hope that Dr. Bloxham is not watching this show because he's finding out that you're letting him do the heavy lifting, only to let Dr. Wong or Dr. Hassan do the fine-tuning and claim full credit for the actual result.
Exactly.
That's how that works. That's how this industry works.
Okay.
A doctor can do 5 surgeries on a patient and take him from a Norwood 37 to a Norwood 1, but then he goes to the last doctor just to get a little fine tuning on that hairline, and that complete and awesome transformation is now owned by that last doctor. The first doctor is completely forgotten.
Well, here's the good news. I don't think the patient really
What the hell's with this sound? What do I hear in the background?
It's the
You hear
caller.
that?
Hello?
Yeah.
It's the caller. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
Sorry
think
about
that the caller really gives a shit about that, Joe, but that's a good point. He just wants to. He just wants to look his best.
Either. I definitely didn't want to. I don't definitely want to throw him under the bus. He's definitely a good guy and definitely been doing good work. So I didn't think of it from that perspective.
No.
I'm sure he feels that way.
Yeah, I'm sure, because he probably is listening. He's like, this motherfucker. I did a great job for this motherfucker, and now he's talking about Hassan. He wants to go see Dr. Wong. No, but listen. I certainly understand it, and I think obviously this is your body, this is your head, this is your plan. But if you're really happy with the first result, the way that I look at things is the doctor already knows your case. He's already given you what you needed and what you wanted. To me, to have that type of rapport and relationship is the way to go, as opposed to skipping around from doctor to doctor. However, if you're not fully happy, but if it's just okay and you think you can up your hair transplant game by going to see another physician, then that's a different situation.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, well, the only reason I was thinking about that in the first place, because I know Dr. Bloxham doesn't specialize with like beard transplant, right? I know, like, I've seen on Joe's channel, he gives a big shout out to like eugenics of India, and they specialize in that, especially for like a lot higher Norwood cases. So that's why the thought process was in my head to begin with. So that was my last thought as well.
The Bloxham Feller
like,
Clinic or Feller Bloxham Clinic, at least when Dr. Feller was performing surgery, and this is what he's actually said this on the air, and he said this to me, their philosophy was they move hair from one place to the next, as opposed to, I don't think they're big fans of prescribing Propecia. At least I know Dr. Feller wasn't years ago. But that may have changed now that, we have that Dr. Bloxham's on board. There's kind of, some young blood there. And, I'm hoping they're prescribing more of it. But again, that's just my opinion. I lost my train of thought, but I think the direction that we're going in, judging from what you're telling me, is you had a very good experience. You're trying to work out your long-term plan. You're trying to find maybe some other experts who have a little bit more different tools in their toolbox in case you need that. And you're looking at Bloxham kind of as just the guy who did a good strip for you.
Yeah, I mean, that was my thought about it anyway. And like, it's scary now that I'm off a large scar in the back of my head. I'm like, okay, well, now I really wouldn't want to shave my head now that I have that thing in there. So how do I maximize my donor with, like an incoming Norwood 6, maybe even 7? How do I really go about this strategically for a good long-term result, if that makes sense?
It does make sense, and that's a good way to think about things. Let me ask you a question. How many months into finasteride use did you start to experience side effects?
About like 2 years. It was roughly the 2-year mark.
Was there any change in the drug? Meaning, were you on a generic finasteride, and did you notice that there was a different color pill that you were being given, or a different shape?
Yeah, it was always the same red color pill from the exact same pharmacy. Nothing. I didn't have any change in like lifestyle or diet or sleep hygiene or anything, because I follow a pretty strict routine just day to day.
But do you know, even though the colors are the same, did you know if the manufacturer was the same?
I'm not sure. I didn't think that the pharmacy would change manufacturers.
They do. Every pharmacy is, if they have the opportunity to get a better deal, basically it's like any other retail store. There are buyers out there. They look for the best deals, and if there's a generic that they can find where they can save, 0.05, 22 cents per dose, they will save that money, and they'll switch people without telling them.
Yeah.
And that happens all the time. And a lot of times, especially when we see somebody 2 years in, and then all of a sudden they're having adverse side effects, there seems to be a correlation between that type of that phenomenon and switching generics.
Okay.
I will go one step further and say that things like you're experiencing so far into your experience of taking finasteride, I have to ask you: have you added any other medications, such as maybe an SSRI antidepressant?
I do I do have ADHD, so I sometimes take like my Vyvanse just to focus for work. But that's I've been on that for years. That's the only like medication that I really take besides the finasteride.
Okay.
I take like multivitamins and like omega-3s and things like that, but nothing.
How
like,
often do you,
nothing
how
like
often do you take Vyvanse?
Vyvanse probably like once or twice a week. Once on like a Tuesday and like once on a Friday.
Now, did you notice? Did you change your dosage at any point? Did you start using it more in that period when you started to notice you were losing more hair?
No. I honestly, I've been on Vyvanse since I've been a kid, so
Okay.
I didn't really notice anything crazy different. And you know, like it's odd because like in my mind the side effects from the Propecia of the finasteride just showed up, and I wasn't even thinking about it. It just like happened, and it got worse. I thought I could push through it, and it got worse and worse and worse, and it was like, okay, I just got to get off this.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I mean,
Fair enough.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jay.
Well, I was going to say, like, I brought up that question because in my experience, I've dealt with so many patients in consultations. Having a side effect from a medication like, I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of background noise. Having a side effect from finasteride so long after you start taking it is real. I'm not saying it's not from finasteride, but it's really rare. And so almost every case I've heard of where I'm dealing with a patient directly and they're telling me what's going on, I believe that if you're going to have sexual side effects from finasteride, you're going to see it in the first few months.
Yeah.
And after that, then I think the longer you go into your routine, before you see the side effects, by the time you do see side effects, in your case 2 years, I think there's a high probability, I'm not saying that this is the case, but there's a high probability that there's something else that's been introduced into your physiology, through something else that you're taking in or some other change internally that might be the cause of this. Because I just don't see patients after 2 years suddenly developing a side effect.
Yeah. So I guess would you suggest
just something to consider?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So yeah, I mean, if it were me, knowing what I know, today, I would seriously consider going back to my doctor and getting a prescription for name brand Propecia or Proscar, simply because you're setting up a baseline for having the proper medication. There's no guesswork going on with the generics. Is it this generic that works great? Is it that generic that maybe it doesn't work so great? Is it that generic it's kind of somewhere in between? Go with the name brand because that's your baseline. There's no question of what you're taking. And what I think is the best thing to do is to get Proscar because it's easier to cut into quarters, and you can monitor that by titrating your intake, starting with maybe one dose a week, say like a quarter tablet every Monday for a month, and see how that works out for you. And if that works out fine for you, then move to twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays, and try that for a month. If that works fine, then go 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Try that, and experiment in that kind of fashion to where you can that what you're taking is the real deal. So the only question mark is your dosage and how you're going to react to it. So you can monitor that, and your question marks won't really exist as far as the baseline, which is the name brand. But you play with the dosage and the time that you're taking it, and come to your own conclusion. A lot of patients that I've dealt with, they've tried this and they find a balance of how much they can take every week, and they can still reap the benefits. You don't have to take it every day. You can take it maybe twice a week or 3 times a week and still get some sort of benefit. And I'm not a doctor. Like this is just my experience dealing with patients over the years. But I also tried this myself at one point, and it turned out fine. So maybe that's something you can try.
I appreciate the honesty. I appreciate the advice. I definitely putting myself in a weird situation, so it's good to have some outside information.
Well, it sucks because you've already had your surgery, and now you're kind of trapped. You gotta find something to halt the hair loss, or to delay the onset of hair loss as much as possible, because you're young. You're 27. You've already had your surgery. You have the strip scar, so you gotta focus on this. And if it were me, I would focus on this before focusing on another surgery, because this could potentially change your whole surgical plan for the long term. If you can find that right balance for your medical intake, it can change the surgical plan completely for the long term.
Yeah. I mean, in the off chance that I guess it doesn't work out, is surgery still like the right option, or should I just say like scrap it and just be like deal with the scar? Or is that? Well,
I can't say it's the right option. Only you can. But what I can say is that if you have tried everything, you've tried the titration of your dosage. If you've tried oral or topical minoxidil, you've tried dutasteride as an option. You've tried PRP, like all these other things, and nothing's really working for you. Surgery can still work as long as you are really conservative and realistic with the placement. Like don't go crazy with the numbers. I've seen cases that over time have unfolded to where even the patient's gone to a Norwood 6 or even a little bit further, and they've had a light covering of hair in the back, a little bit denser up front, but it still looked okay. Like it looked like they were losing their hair, but it didn't look like they had a hair transplant, which is a huge difference.
I have a question for you. You said something interesting, and it was a really good question. And by the way, we got so much background noise coming from you, man. Are you using like AirPods?
Yeah, let me take those off. Give me a second. Is that better?
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, and I don't want to be sued by Apple, so it's just my opinion, those things, man, are like... Try to talk to somebody when they're wearing those things, everything they pick up sounds like they're crushing tinfoil in your ear.
Oh, my bad. I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm sorry about that.
It's not your fault. I'm blaming Apple. So you asked an interesting question, which I think a lot of guys, young guys in your situation, would not ask. You asked if you should cut your losses. You were willing to think about not having another surgery, which is actually emotionally really, you're well equipped for this. Because most guys, once they're cut, they feel so desperate that they have to keep going. It's possible if you felt that you look good with a shaved head, that you could pull a Joe Rogan and just cut your losses and live with a scar in the back of your head. And
yeah, I mean that was a thought. I mean, if like obviously like there's money involved with it, but if I'm gonna get a decent result, and if I'm strategic at it, then I don't mind doing that. But if it's gonna look terrible either way, then I'm going to have to deal with the scar anyway, so I might as well just do it now than later.
Well, what's interesting is the way that I would play it if you have that attitude, which I couldn't at this point. I'd be gluing hair wherever I could and getting transplants, and I paint my head. I'm almost 60 years old. But if you can deal with a shaved head, you might just want to consider that, just giving it a shot and seeing how you look. Just so you know, okay, if things don't work out, I know this option works for me. Even before you have your second transplant. Would that be something you're willing to do?
I mean, it's definitely the last option I would look at, but I've just like come to the reality that it might happen. It's definitely the last option I wouldn't want to do. But like,
yeah, but if it's the last option, you don't want to wait for that option. Every time you get cut, the less possibility, you lessen your possibilities of it being a realistic option. So you have one scar in the back of your head. You only had a certain amount of grafts moved. It's possible now that if you shaved your head that you wouldn't have any visible pitting, and you'd have a decent linear line that could maybe be camouflaged eventually with a little, temporary SMP or whatever. But when you get another piece of your scalp cut out and more grafts placed, you're diminishing the chances of looking really good with a shaved head. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So if I get you're saying if I got a second surgery, because I know Blocksmith said you can cut through the scar and it would still look like one scar.
That's what they do. But every time you go in, you have a greater chance of having stretch back.
Stretch back.
And the scar can increase in size and width.
Okay.
And I will tell you this, and this is just my experience across the board. Doesn't matter where you go, doesn't matter which doctor it is. If you're really happy with the donor scar from the first FUT surgery, take a picture of it, because it's very rare.
It's true.
That the second surgery, the scar will turn out just as good.
I think we should change the
It's really
the name
rare.
of the show from The Bald Truth to Dream Killers.
Dream Killers.
Because that's what we do.
Yeah.
We destroy these kids' dreams by telling them the truth.
I'm telling you.
No,
you.
I mean, this is good to know.
It doesn't mean it won't turn out well.
That.
It's very rare that the width and we'll say the perfection of the donor scar turns out to be the same in subsequent surgeries. Like if it's the proverbial pencil thin line, which it never is, then it'll be the size of a magic marker on the second pass. Still acceptable.
Okay.
But just not quite so good.
Anyway, so the whole point is, you want to try to solidify your situation as best as possible before you move forward with the second surgery, in my view. I think that if you're comfortable enough right now to live in your own in your skin, then maybe attempting to get back on medication or considering oral minoxidil, talking to your doctor about that. I don't know how much Bloxam is going to be able to help you with intermittent dosing and talking to you about considering getting back on finasteride. I mean, I really don't know what I really don't know what his thought process is, or if he's in the same if he practices medicine in the same manner that his mentor does, Alan Feller, then he would probably tell you to stay away from finasteride.
Yeah, he did tell me to stay away from it. If he's like, if you're getting the side effects, it's not worth to try pushing your luck with it.
Right. So, and I understand that. I mean, that's why it's called the practice of medicine. So that's going to be up to you. You can speak to other doctors about it, or what your choices are. You can speak to him about what his medical, choices would be. Would he consider prescribing oral minoxidil for you? Or does he have access to prescribing topical finasteride? And kind of give that a shot.
Okay.
Just the whole point is, I understand your plan. It's great that you have a plan, and you're like, okay, if this doesn't work out, then I'm going to go to Canada. I'm going to get this done. You want to try to maintain as much of your natural hair as possible, and you want to make sure that the transplanted hair continues to grow the way in which you're hoping for. And the only way you can really mitigate the possibility of things really failing is to try to get yourself on some sort of medical therapy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I hope that makes sense.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate the honesty, and it's given me a lot to think about. And hopefully, I'll keep you guys posted with what I end up doing in the future.
All right, man. Well, listen, good luck, and I'm glad you had a good experience your first time.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Have a good day, guys.
Bye-bye.
Good. Thanks for calling.
Taking names and dashing dreams. 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Pete in Texas. How you doing?
Hey, Pete in Texas. How you doing?
Hello, Pete.
Good. Hey, I have an unusual question, if you don't mind. I'm originally from Massachusetts, where marijuana has been legal for about 3 years.
Uh-huh.
And I've tried about a half dozen different strains of the stuff, like indica, hybrid, and even, I think, something called sativa. And
sativa?
But I haven't found any... What is it?
Sativa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I haven't found anything that helps me with my writing, and I'm a copywriter. Anyway, crazy question, but do you have any recommendations?
To help you for marijuana, types of strains of marijuana to help you with your writing?
Yeah, like, because I know some stuff gives you, like, can make you act silly, laughing, and could help, write good comedy and stuff, so.
I got to tell you, man, you might want to. I don't think Joe Rogan takes phone calls, but that's the guy you probably want to ask. I'm a relative. I can tell you this: if I am using marijuana, I can't. I will not be able to write, work, or do anything. I mean, I can go out and have a good time, maybe, or get some dinner, or have a couple of laughs, and maybe get laid, shit like that. But as far as like functioning in the world where I have to produce, there's no way. So I have not found anything that helps me in that respect.
Yeah, that's my problem, because I've tried like 6 different types, and I'm like, man, I can't believe people actually spend money on this stuff. And,
I mean, I see why they spend money on this stuff, because it helps you. I mean, unless it makes you paranoid, you feel no pain, you escape. Like I said, I know why these guys don't feel any pain when they do CBD or THC with CBD is because you get so fucking hungry, you order the half a menu from Domino's. You're not thinking about your pain anymore. You're just hanging out, watching TV, or doing, spending time like scrolling through TikTok like an idiot, for about 4 hours.
Like whatever I've tried, it's just like, I just sit there kind of like on the couch, and I'm like unproductive, but like son of a bitch, it's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, there are people that claim that it makes them more creative, and that there are a lot of writers out there who have experimented with like different psychedelics and different types of marijuana. Rogan talks about that all the time, which I find it's fascinating to me. But I can tell you this: when I vape, I'm a complete vegetable.
Yeah, I had tried that, and it just messed me up too.
Not a productive.
Anyway,
we would not be behind this mic. I never would have written a book, and I would never have the career that I have if I actually liked smoking pot at a young age. Wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, it's just like unproductivity is what I see. Hey, if you don't mind, you know what? I had called in before. I'd asked you about Joe in Staten Island, if you've heard from him lately, and I don't know. Have you heard from him lately?
Haven't heard from him lately, and you also said you were going to hook us up with, your famous friend.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, I did. Yep.
And you were so loaded you probably forgot.
No, I didn't forget. Actually, I do remember that. It's just I'm like, man, why? Because right now I'm stone cold sober, and I'm like, man, I'm
not having as much fun.
I shouldn't be saying stuff like that on the phone and name dropping and stuff, and just
Listen, it was a fun call, and I'm just busting your balls. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I mean, there's got to be some strain. There's probably plenty of people who are incredibly creative, and they're able to write scripts and songs and their comedy bits and sets, while they're stoned. To me, I know what would happen to me. I'd sit down in front of my laptop. I type away. I think it's brilliant. I wake up the next day, and essentially, it would be like Chinese. Like none of it would make sense to me, at least.
Yeah, I believe that. At least that's kind of been my experience. I'm like, maybe I'm missing the boat here. I mean, because I was always like the teacher's pet in school. I never partied. I never tried marijuana until I was in my 50s. So.
Wow. Now you missed. Yeah, you definitely missed the boat. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I'm just kidding.
Better off the way, I guess, anyway.
You know what? It is better off. And whoever says that it's not an addictive drug, it's not this. Look, I believe all this shit should be legal. I think that we live in a much safer country and a much safer world if all drugs are regulated, and we wouldn't have this fentanyl issue and all this stuff. But I can tell you this, that it's not something that I think is really great for your brain to do on a regular basis. Oh.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
It's fucking Rogan, man. Rogan's calling. I'm just kidding. I don't know him. He's not going to call me. I had one interaction with the guy.
Now, what you were just saying about drugs, I don't know if you know this, but I had seen on 60 Minutes a few years ago that the country of Portugal. Did you know that drugs are like legal there, pretty much? Like, did you know that?
I knew that.
Their crime is way down. Like, and not a lot of people know that. I don't think so.
First of all, do you know
Anyway.
everything would change in this country if they legalized drugs, all drugs, recreational drugs.
Well, we'll see how that works in Portland because they just decriminalized all drugs there, I think.
Yeah, you know, I
We'll see how it works out.
I will say that it's going to depend on the state and the governance of that state as well. Because you can't have, a complete free-for-all as far as, not being that concerned about crime.
On call 21, marijuana is a crutch as I take another swig of my beer. That's good.
Oh, man. Anyway, no, I feel like I'm wasting your guys' time with these questions. I mean, it's just like totally off the bat.
I'm wasting my time.
Well, sorry I couldn't contribute more.
I
know nothing about this.
I'm uniquely interested now because I had a doctor to tell me I could take pain meds, which I chose not to, or try this. He has patients where this helps them, and I tried it, and it's fine. And I definitely see the benefit of it, and I can see how it helps with your pain. It helps keep your mind off of it. But if you smoke the wrong strain, you're totally paranoid. It fucks you up on with other things. And if you smoke the right strain, in my opinion, you're useless. You could have a couple of laughs with your friends, and maybe have sex or whatever, and eat. But you're not going to get any work done, in my opinion.
Well, at that point, what does work matter?
Yeah.
Have a few laughs, get laid, have a good meal. I'm done.
Yeah. Well, sadly, you need money in the bank. That's the sad part of this world. Can't just have fun and enjoy it. All right, man. Well, I wish I could help you. I mean, I do know that, you could speak to a doctor about it, but there's a lot of people with ADHD that take certain medications. A lot of writers take Adderall. I would not. I wouldn't recommend that shit because it's addictive, like anything else, and in the end, it's going to fuck up your brain. I think. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. It's my opinion.
I'm an Army veteran, and I got diagnosed at the VA with ADHD, and they did prescribe me Ritalin, and I didn't like it. It just kind of messed me up and changed my personality.
Yeah.
But someone that I do writing with has told me about an ADHD drug called Vyvanse. Vyvanse. You ever heard of that?
Very popular.
He said it's like a miracle drug, and he also told me that it wasn't like addictive. So
they're all miracle drugs until they're not. I believe in better life through chemistry. I believe that that's why I've been on finasteride for so long. But the truth is, who knows what that shit's doing to me in the long run? You want to be on as little as possible, in my view.
Yeah.
And I think that if you're writing on a regular basis and you start to take a new medication, you're like, wait a second, I think I'm better. Then you can end up taking more of the medication. And so it will become emotionally addictive, even if they claim it's not physically addictive. They claim that marijuana is not physically addictive either, or in some places they do. But I can tell you this, you smoke it long enough on a regular basis, you just kind of get used to it. You want to smoke it again.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's good advice. I'm just going to stay away from that and just be all natural. I think that's the best thing. So.
Go natty, man. All right. Thanks for the call, man. You sound well.
I appreciate it, guys.
Okay.
Talk to you later.
All right, buddy. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
888-659-3727. Yeah, marijuana's a weird thing, man. I'm totally pro legal, that's legal. I think that it could help a lot of people. It's great for people who are a lot of chronic pain sufferers deal with it. But I think if you have chronic pain and you have to function, it's a tough one.
It is. But like in general, like I think that I like it when people are not myself, but like when others are using edibles, because like I had a neighbor recently, like before my wife and I got this place, he was on the opposite corner of the floor that we were on, and he was smoking like a freight train, like all day, every day, and it would permeate into our unit.
Yeah.
And not a fan
Terrible.
of the smell.
Yeah,
not a
me
fan
neither.
of the. Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, but anyway, what do you do?
Well, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Let's see who this is.
Who's next? We got a caller?
Yeah, you're on the air. Hold on. You're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
It's Morty from Brooklyn.
Fucking, you know.
Hello, Morty.
I had 4 choices.
Oh man!
And
How you guys doing?
I picked the fucking door number 3 with the llama behind it.
Is that what I am to you, Spencer?
No,
llama?
but I knew you would get the joke because you're old.
Boom, 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 boom. Wah.
Yeah. No, dude, you're the European vacation, man. Come on.
Yeah, really, man. Anyway, happy Diwali.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Back
You're
at you.
welcome. Yeah. So yeah, things are pretty good. Days are getting shorter. Weather's getting nippier. I guess I'll have to pull some questions out of my ass. So here's a question for you. I have finally broken down and decided to take an antidepressant because the situation in my life is getting to the point where I can't sleep well at night. And doctors prescribed me something called Remeron. So do I need to worry about that messing with my hair?
Spencer?
Yes.
I do?
The answer is yes.
Yes.
Even if it's a rare, even if it's a rare a rare side effect. Listen, I take shit that can mess with my hair, and I had to make choices on whether or not I would be willing to take it, and I do because I need it right now.
Gotcha.
But you know, that's always a possibility. Now, not for nothing, Morty. At this point, I have a lot more to lose than you, so it would be tragic if that happened. With you, you know, you don't know, you don't even know if you're going to see the difference at this point. I mean, you did grow some good hair back.
Thanks, dude.
Listen, I'm just saying, if you need this medication, you're in a better position to take it. You know, and to consider it.
Do something else, Spencer. Anyway,
do they prescribe a low dosage for you, or is it an average size dosage? Like how much you taking?
I think I hurt Morty's feelings.
So,
I really didn't mean it to go in that direction, but he took it wrong.
Oh, Spencer, you broke my heart, man. I'm kidding. Come on.
Dude, trust me. The guy just asked about Joe from Staten Island. I'll play you the birthday song that he sent me. It's unbelievable.
Oh.
You know, actually, it's funny that you bring that up because I have been hearing some of the old GFQ stuff, which for whatever reason YouTube decided to throw at me. So I got a chance to see. I think it was very, very late. Yeah. I think it was 2013. It was like July 2013. So it showed 2 of them. One of them was you and Mr. Staten Island, Spencer and Staten Island.
Yeah.
And then you, Joe, and Spencer, and Joe and Spencer, Joe from Staten Island, and Joe Tillman together. And it was funny to see Joe's background, how different it was. It was just like it was a white background with like what looked to be like a closet door to. Yeah.
That was Joe's original studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That was at my kitchen table.
Yeah. So that was kind of interesting to see.
That was my kitchen table 1, 2, 3 properties ago. Three apartments ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. You're a regular gypsy, Joe. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, not too much. Not too much.
Yeah. Anyway, so the funny thing was that what I can say, in my opinion, is that Spencer, you've changed quite a bit through the years. You know, this is again 8 years ago. Your head was in a different place because your dad was on the way out, and you had this very positive attitude about the industry. You were saying things like, there's really good options for people nowadays, and that that there's really great stuff coming around the corner, and all this.
In 2021, he's pretty much saying everyone's fucked.
I'm like, damn.
Hey, I have a question. Thanks for taking my call. I got a question about hair loss. Yeah, don't worry about it. You're done.
Yeah, I think that I could tell you what happened. Now, okay, so in the programs that you were watching, so tell me exactly what my attitude was like.
So, well, interestingly enough, I mean, a lot of the same things were true. Like you were talking about your own experience, about you know, getting on minoxidil and then getting on finasteride, and you were talking about that. Let me think. You know, you're talking about, you know, the spiel that you always talk about, that you have to paint your head and, you know, all these things, but that, you know, that these drugs were a lifesaver for you. And, you know, those things were pretty much the same. The other side of it is, you weren't, I didn't hear the whole thing about the bad doctors and at least, again, I'm paraphrasing here. So, you know, I remember exactly what was being said, but you did say that there were a lot of options that were available, specifically even with surgery. You said that those were options.
Yeah. So
I didn't hear the famous surgery was a last resort. I didn't hear that.
In 2013, which is almost a decade ago, it's 8 years ago.
Yep.
We were in a position where there was a handful of guys who were actually getting really good results. Probably about 3 that I knew of with PRP. There were things in the pipeline that I knew about that I felt were going to come to fruition, which never did. And I was working in a place where the field of surgeons, it was much smaller. So we had the IHRS in place. Whilst I always didn't say surgery is the last resort. I may not have said it as much on the shows that you watch, but I've been saying that for 20 years. But, you know, I felt a lot more confident with the choices that patients had in 2013. FUE was kind of just, honestly, catching on in a bigger way. And there were a lot of guys who were still doing either hybrids or still doing conventional strip surgery. Guys were getting really, you know, much more natural results in general. So I just felt, I didn't feel as bad about the industry. It was always fucked up. But I didn't feel as like, I'm just going to throw out my fucking hands and just say, look, guys, you're fucked. You know? So as things devolved in the last 8 years, and they've devolved quickly, there's so many more choices. You got to understand, 2013, people weren't going through their Instagram feeds. People weren't going through their Facebook feeds. And maybe Facebook was in existence, but there wasn't this type of advertising in your face with all these different options for people. And hair transplant surgery was still kind of like a little bit fringe. You know? So there was a lot that's changed in the last 8 years that kind of made me even more bitter than I was back then.
Yeah, you did talk about one doctor who would pass that year who you really were hit you real hard. I forget the doctor. He was a doctor who was the son of another doctor that you knew about, and he just died suddenly.
Dr. Brad Limmer, Bradley Limmer. Bradley.
Yeah, that's right.
Is it Bradley?
That was
Bradley?
the episode.
Did I get that wrong?
I'd have to go watch, but it was definitely Dr. Limmer.
No, it's what's his name? This is terrible. He was the greatest guy in the world. Why am I forgetting his first name? Maybe I didn't forget his first name.
Bobby? Wait, Bobby.
There's Bobby and his son.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's look this up real fast. I'm getting older. Yeah, Brad Limmer. I was right. I don't know why that freaked me out.
Sorry, confusing with
man.
another name.
Yeah.
Another doctor. Yeah.
Yeah, I would tell you about this guy, and I may have said it on the air. You know, he's the only person I ever worked with in this industry, any physician, that not only sent me condolences when my brother was killed, but followed up with me on the anniversary of my brother's death to ask me how I was feeling.
Wow.
And just
that's a class act.
That is a class act. I don't even get Christmas cards from some of these motherfuckers. You know? And this guy takes the time to do that. I mean, that really, I was shocked when he passed away, and he is missed. He was one of the nicest guys in this field, really talented, and it's sad that he's gone. And he was young. I think we were around the same age.
Yeah, I can tell you though, you look better now than you did then because you were a bit heavier then.
Oh well, I appreciate that. Jesus.
Yeah, you actually do look better now, believe it or not. So just saying that. So
yeah, I think I looked better in person back then. How's that? I'm just kidding. I'm glad to look better 8 years later. I was probably about 25 pounds heavier, so I was like an old wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, Joe, you look like a little kid back then, man. not for
See,
nothing.
that's Morty's way of saying I look like shit today.
No. No, it's just that you had this like boyish presence, and you've got look at you. You start coughing. It's like, well, it's because your lungs are going, but
Oh yeah. No, I was also a bit heavier, probably 15 pounds heavier, but I was also I don't think I was. I think I was shaving.
You
was I shaving?
You were probably clean shaven for that show.
Yes, you had. That's what it was.
Yeah.
You were clean shaven. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was. You were clean shaven. Plus, your hair wasn't quite as gray as it is now. Not that you have tremendous amounts of gray hair.
This fucking dude picks everything apart, man. He's unbelievable.
He really does.
Well, I got to fill the air with something.
Look,
man.
Spence,
Come
in
on.
2013, you were a fat, bloated, pig. Thank God you started to take care of yourself.
He calls up. He's like, "Hey, oh yeah, and Joe, I noticed the hyaluronic acid on that spot on your face is working well too. Good for you."
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, man. It's a good thing you guys don't run 4K. You know what I'm saying? But
Oh, we can be, and we will be eventually.
Oh, okay.
I am actually. It's just downsampled.
Yeah, we stream in 1080p. Pretty close though.
Yeah, that's true.
That's pretty good.
That's true.
So.
Well, anyway, so that's what's going on with that. One thing actually I wanted to ask about. So I've noticed this over the years. Do you find that people's hair gets thinner in the winter and then thicker in the summer, or vice versa, or am I just losing hair and getting really sad about it?
Both.
Both. Yeah, but there's this myth that goes around about the seasonal shed, how people lose their hair in the winter or in the summer or whatever. It's not true.
Okay.
Like some people do, but it's just a coincidence. People go through growth cycles that are not in tune with the seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, because lately it isn't looking as nice as it was, say, a couple of months ago. So just putting that out there.
And that could be
anyway.
that could be
Good, so.
your own seasonal shedding or your own cyclical shedding.
Morty, when's your next appointment with Dr. Cole?
That's a damn good question. I'm just going to leave it there.
Wait a second. Are you telling me you have no idea when you're supposed to see him?
I believe it's going to be sometime in January.
Ah.
Okay.
And I'm going to, and those are the words that I'm going to use. I believe that it is going to be sometime in January.
Okay.
So
Well, that's what you give us. That's what we'll take.
You have no set date, is what you're saying.
Nope. That is exactly what I'm saying.
Dude, this is what I would do, man. I would sit outside his door.
You think I got time or the well, actually I could sit out his door here in the city. I could just sit at the foot of his townhouse, just plant myself there, but truth is I don't know when the hell he's going to be in town.
How is the office space that he's in now in New York?
Well, it's getting there. The treatment room, the last time I was in it, which was, I think it was in August. Yeah, it was in August. The treatment room is very nice. Very well appointed, very clean, nothing to worry about for people who want to come in there and get work done. It's, he's being very wise and growing slowly as opposed to trying to throw down a whole bunch of money. You know how expensive space is in New York City. So he's just, he's taking it one step at a time. And I think that's smart.
Hold on for a second.
Yeah.
Stay quiet for 1 second. Can you hear me, Joe?
What's up?
Yes.
Okay. Because you are breathing like an animal in your microphone. It is so loud, I can't even concentrate.
Me?
No, Joe.
Me?
Yeah.
I held my breath. I wasn't breathing.
Well, and someone in the background is a mouth breather.
I heard a thunk while we're listening.
Oh, I don't know what that means.
You know, it's the it's the FBI. They're looking for. Well, I'm just going to stop right there because I think Spencer knows where I'm going.
Oh my God, we have a heavy breathing NSA guy listening in.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they have hair loss problems too. Come on.
Of course they do. Dude, we're the largest demographic amongst all humankind.
Yeah.
That's it. There's not a household in general. There's not a household that survives this.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. NSA guy can listen. Even the president of the United States, who's actually had work done. And I have on good authority who he got the work done by, but I'm not going to talk about it.
Nobody has it on good authority.
Okay.
Maybe they do, but does it start with a C?
The last name begins with a U.
Oh, well, I could see that.
Okay, then.
I could see that being a reality. I could see that being a reality. Well, listen, Morty, we're gonna take some more phone calls, but as usual, I always appreciate your call, and I hope that things work. I hope things work out with Dr. Cole, and that you end up having your surgery and you're happy with everything, and
Mm-hmm. Well, the way I see it, Spencer, is it's in God's hands right now. If the surgery happens, great. If it doesn't happen, well, I'll see what I do when that time comes. I got bigger fish to fry right now. I'm dealing with Mom. I'm taking antidepressants.
Listen, knowing John, the fact that you said it's in God's hands, he would agree.
Well said.
Well said.
Oh Lord, man, John, if you're listening, this didn't come from me. I didn't say that. Just if you're listening, just so that you know, that was not me.
Listen, John knows how I feel. It's the reality. He's a great dude. I love the guy to death, but he has an incredibly high opinion of himself, and he's not afraid to share it.
Yeah, I think that he's not wrong about his talents and his experience.
Oh, he's 100% right about it. He's one of the best in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, he didn't put hair on people's heads. God did. Only thing he does is pull it out and move it around. So, just yeah.
That's true, but don't tell him that.
Yeah.
All right, man. Good luck. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great weekend. And I'm sorry about.
Thanks for calling, Morty.
I'm sorry that you feel the need to be on antidepressants. I know how it is.
It's so to answer Joe's question, I'm on the doctor prescribed 15 milligrams. I don't like taking meds, so I basically took out that old pill cutter that I used for my finasteride, and I chopped that sucker into quarters. So I'm on basically, I guess it would be 7.5, would be 3.25 milligrams right now is what I'm taking. So.
Well, I hope you do well with it, and I hope things work out, man.
Thanks, guys.
All right, man. Good luck.
Later.
Bye.
See ya.
I mean, we should all be on antidepressants.
I'm telling you. Oh, boy.
Guys, we'll take a call. 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Ray from Florida.
Ray, what's happening?
Hello, Ray.
Not too much. Hello. Hey, just a quick synopsis. About 18 months ago, I had been wearing a system for about 25 years.
I remember that.
And about 18. Right. So I called you guys and told you I was contemplating surgery with a certain individual, and you took a look at his website and let me know that those pictures were not his pictures. So I did some research, and then I saw Joe's video on Dr. Aaron Nussbaum here in Florida, and a year ago I had a FUT surgery. And I am just calling I'm just calling in to let you know that I certainly appreciate everything you guys do. The results are fantastic. I couldn't be happier.
You called us a
And
month
I
ago to
would've
tell
been-
us that.
No, I think I called about 4 months ago, and this is the year.
Listen, Mazel Tov. Congratulations. It's your 1 year anniversary. I'm glad that you called. And I'm glad that
Very nice to hear.
I'm glad that at this stage you're happy with things. That's a good sign. That means, this is supposed to be, the end result basically. So the fact that you're calling and saying you're ecstatic, that's great.
Congratulations.
I've scheduled a second surgery for the crown area in February.
I knew it. Nobody gets just one, man.
Yep. I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah, well, I saw the great results in the front, and I thought, well, why wouldn't I go ahead and alleviate that same situation in the back?
Yeah. Listen.
That's how they get you.
Yeah. How old are you now? How old are you now, Ray?
I'm 54.
Okay. Look, you're at a good stage in life. You're at a good age. You're making smart decisions. You found the program. You found a really great surgeon from a really great clinic. There's a long line of great hair transplant surgeons, or at least his dad is. He works with some of the best. He grew up in the industry, and he's the type of guy that would never steer you in the wrong direction, in my view.
I agree.
No, my first impression. Yeah, my first impression was great because he had to decide whether or not I was even a candidate.
Yeah.
And the other complications I had, that was not an issue.
And the best part of it is,
And,
if you go on his
nice.
website, those images are actually from the practice. So that helps.
Absolutely. And, the aftercare has been great. I had a personal number. I can call him. I've had plenty of questions. I've been taking finasteride since then, and I
You're
also
kidding. He
have
won't
been
even.
taking
He won't even give me his personal number.
Well, I don't know how personal it is. It's a throwaway burner phone or something. But nonetheless, I've been taking oral minoxidil too since about June, and I'm real happy with that also.
Okay.
So, and we went through a process to get to a point where I'm taking a good dosage. We didn't start out at a high dosage. We started at a very low dose to make sure there was no complications, and everything's been fine. And, I couldn't be happier. I'm very glad that I did it, and I'm very glad that I got in touch with you guys too, because if I'd have spent all this money and made the mistake and had a bad result, that would have been devastating.
Well, I think it would have been.
Everyone
puts the money out there, like first.
Mm-hmm.
You would have just been devastated. Period. You wouldn't even been thinking about the money. You're walking around with a bad hair transplant. The money's not even a thought.
Yeah, and I tell you, the freedom from that system has been tremendous.
So that's an interesting part of this story. You wore a system for how long? 25 years?
Mm-hmm.
And we may have spoken about this, but what was it like for those 25 years? Those are your prime years.
I'm not upset that I did it. I'm not sad at all because pretty much 95% of the people that I deal with had no idea.
That's great.
Even
That's
since
nice.
I've gotten my hair cut. Yeah, even since I've gotten my hair cut and went without it, I've never seen, even consciously or unconsciously, anybody ever comment about it or anything. It was a very natural transition.
Except for that
So I'm
Facebook
glad-
group that your friends started, Raise to Pay.
Yeah, except for that. But I'm banned from that. I don't.
So as long as you don't see the comments, what do you care?
Yeah, but I'm glad that I did it because I did have those years where I wasn't suffering, and when I first started, surgery was not an option really. As you well know, things were real sketchy back then. They were talking about forehead reductions and flipping your scalp over to one side. And
the Brandy scalp lifts in general, the male pattern reduction surgery, which was just like essentially a prerequisite in the sales process. For the large chain guys especially. And when you think about it, just logically, when I got into the field, I knew nothing about it. And when I read that they basically take a chunk of your scalp out and suture it together, which usually leaves something called a dog ear scar. And you know, essentially they're moving the hair-bearing skin together in hopes that, somehow you're not going to continue to progress? These motherfuckers knew what was happening. They're like, yeah, this guy's going to be happy for about 6 months, and then we're going to be able to transplant more stuff. And, yeah, he's going to have a fucked up scar on the top of his head, but we'll put some hair in there. They were willing to sell that to you.
Yeah, that was all that there was, too. You know, hair plugs were looking real bad at the time, and
but the truth is that wasn't all that there was. There were a handful of guys who were doing, like Bobby Limmer, Bradley Limmer's dad, who were doing follicular unit transplantation using microscopic dissection, but no one knew about it. And when I wrote The Bald Truth, when I wrote The Bald Truth, I was only able to include 11 doctors in my recommended list. 11 who were performing follicular unit transplantation where hair transplants actually looked natural. This is in 1998. 11. That's it. That's all that existed in the entire world. So
it's much better now. And also much worse because of that.
Exactly.
There you go. Yep.
All right. Well, Ray, we're going to take a quick phone call before we close up shop.
No problem. I appreciate the work that you guys do.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that you're happy.
Thank you.
It's, we get a lot of calls from people who are unhappy. It's always good to get a call from guys who had a good result.
Look, it was a great decision that I made. Going to the right doctor, getting it done. It looks natural. It feels great. I still have concerns with the hair because of the back part, but I know that that's going to be taken care of and look a lot better in the future. And the only thing I would say is, people should have a realistic idea of what a hair transplant can do and what it can't do. That's the thing. I think that even though I had an idea, I still thought it would be a little different than what it was. The end result is great, but where your hairline is, since you're not going to lower it, you're going to have a high forehead.
Yeah.
And not a ridiculously high one, but it's not going to be, down here at the point. But I tell you, again, for anybody out there contemplating it, get the right doctor, and it's a great feeling.
Well,
thank
Ray,
you so much.
Thank you so much, and
glad it worked out for you.
Mazel tov. Take it easy.
You bet. Have a great day, guys.
See you, Ray.
Last phone call tonight. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from? Caller, you're on. Don't get cold feet.
Hi,
Hello?
is this me?
Yeah.
All right. So my name's Kumar. I'm calling from the Middle East. I'm an Indian, basically.
Hey, Kumar. What's happening?
Hello, Kumar.
Hi, Joe. Hi, Spence. It's really great to call you guys.
Where exactly are you calling from?
To say thanks. I'm calling from the Middle East. Do you know Doha?
Doha?
Doha, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Qatar, the next Football World Cup is going to take place.
What time is it there?
Yeah.
I think it's around 3 a.m.
You're calling us. You're watching The Bald Truth in India.
Yes.
At 3 a.m.
No, I'm currently in the Middle East.
Oh, Doha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, what can we do for you?
So sorry, I'm stammering because I'm anxious.
Yeah, I don't hear you stammering.
So I've been following your show since 2018.
Holy shit!
And from your guidance, last month I had my hair transplant with Dr. Lupanzola in Brussels.
Oh,
wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So
how'd
I'm
that go?
basically an Route 6. Yeah, it went very good. So I'm basically an Route 6/7. So the doctor planned my surgery in 2 sessions, 3,500 and 3,500. So now the front part is done. I could send you my photos through mail if you would like.
Would you like his photos, Jim?
Sure. Go ahead.
Right. What ID should I send it to?
admin@hairtransplantmentor.com.
All right, just give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Oh, he wants to do it now.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy's not fucking around.
Yeah, he's serious. You want me to put these up on the screen? You want the world to see your photos?
No, not right now. I think it would be best for you to have a look. And once the final result is done, I could give my consent.
So this is how they sneak in that consultation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you send my photos live in front of hundreds of people? It's like, sure. You want them online? No, just for you. It's like, okay, all right. You got me. Good job. Okay. Yeah, I'll be happy to look at them. So, so you had 3,500 in the first session. You're planned on 3,500 for the second session.
Yes, that would be in May.
Tell me about your tell me about your medical use. Did he put you on topical finasteride or some sort of medical treatment?
So in around 2018 end, I started taking finasteride. I bought the Pro Scar and I cut it into quarters. And as you said, I titrated it. And I went to a point where I took a tablet, one tablet, 3 days per week.
Okay.
So
how'd that work out for you?
Well, the only problem, the side effect that I had was that my blood sugar increased. It increased about 40 to 50 points.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. A lot of people, and we never really talk about this, but one of the potential adverse side effects, and they seem like long-term adverse side effects, from what I'm reading, is that use of finasteride could increase your blood sugar, and it seems guys who are on it for longer term may have an increased risk. And again, this is just from what I've read. I don't know 100%. Increased risk of type 2 diabetes. So it's definitely something that we all have to watch out for. But I can tell you this. If I would have known that 30 years ago when I started taking this drug, I still would have taken the fucking drug. So there you go.
Of course. So I went to the doctor and then I told him this. Now he has substituted it for topical finasteride.
Okay. And how's that working out for you?
No, I'm only allowed to take it after 1 month post surgery, so that would still take about 2 more weeks.
Okay. Oh, so it was only 2 weeks ago you had your surgery. Okay.
Yes. I was in Belgium last month.
Okay.
Okay. So I want to firstly thank you guys because of your guidance. Your online guidance that I went to him. And I would like to say a couple of things about the doctor and the clinic, if it's all right with you.
Absolutely.
First now, did you tell Dr. Lupinzula this?
Yes, I did say that after following you that I came there.
Okay.
How come this guy never tells you, hey, Joe, I got a nice patient, people love the show.
I haven't talked to the guy in forever, so it'd be nice to hear that.
Do you know that I have never...
like to know how it's working.
Do you know that just about every physician who's worked for the IHRS is always like, yeah, people love your show, and they write, and even the doctors thank me for doing what I did. Doesn't seem to happen with Dr. Lupinzula.
He's too busy.
I don't know why. Anyway, go ahead.
I think it's working too well for him. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Colin.
Yeah, so, I have to say that, you would know by now, but he's very skillful. I'm not able to see where the hair has been taken from in my donor, as well as he has placed it very naturally in my recipient. And as skillful he is, I think he's also very humble, and I should appreciate him for his humility. The same goes to his technicians and also his office staff. And special mention goes to Scott, because due to the travel restrictions, in the past 1 year, I had to reschedule 5 to 6 times. And once he also had as per the contract, that he had the chance to withhold my deposit, but he was kind enough to give me a date. And in that date, I got the visa and I went and had the transplant. So huge thank you to Dr. Lupinzula, his team, and to you guys.
Well, I can tell you they're a very honest clinic. Dr. Lupinzula is a class act. His patients love him, and it seems like a lot of people like Scott as well. and the entire staff. So it's great. I was just kind of busting his balls. He's just one of the few physicians that I don't really, he's been a member of the IHS for a very long time, but we have like no relationship. He doesn't write like, hey, Spence, how's it going? Like everybody else. So I kind of always just I goof on him about that. But I'm glad you had a good experience. I'm glad that you found the program. I'm glad that you found Joe. And I'm glad that you took the time to call us at 3 a.m. to tell us about your experience. It's important. You know, like I said to the prior caller, we don't get enough positive calls. That's what we want. We want guys who have good experiences too. Yeah, sadly, there's a lot more unfortunate outcomes than positive outcomes. But we want people to know that at least they have a fighting chance if they go to the right clinic. All right, caller? You still there?
Yes, yes, thanks.
Okay.
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to call, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Thank you, Joe.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Joe, do you have to go, or do you want to take one more call? I have to go soon, but it's up to you.
No, we'll go when you're ready. We can take another call.
Okay. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Sweden.
Hi, what's your name?
Yeah, my name is, I have writing on your chat, you know. My name is Osman. And
Osmond from Sweden. Welcome, man.
Yeah. I have the issue, I have fighting hair loss for many times. It's really, it's for many decades. Just like you say, Spencer Cooper, I have watched your old videos. You speaking the reality of many things. You're so true, man. I feel you. Also, this is crazy. Also.
Well, I'm glad that you're able to listen. That's what the show is about. You know, when I started to do it, I knew there were a lot of guys who'd be able to relate to what I was dealing with emotionally, but no one was willing to talk about it. Everyone was just trying to sell some shit. So I'm glad that you found us, and I mean it's traumatic, man. So how old are you?
Yeah, I'm 24 years old.
Okay, so tell us what's going on.
Yeah, I'm still, I have not done any surgical or any transplant. I am Norwood 2, something like that.
Okay.
But I still feel I have thinning and gray hair, so now I'm trying to, keep my hair, but it's. I'm feeling like every strand's falling out. I keep saving them. I take in the finasteride. And I don't even know how I'm going to look like. That's the, I'm using all the gray stuff product, but I'm still confused how I'm going to look like.
Well, that's one of the biggest concerns about hair loss that hair loss sufferers deal with. It's not necessarily the present, but what's going to happen in the future. Because right now you probably look pretty good. And you're concerned about how it's going to progress and what's going to happen. But it's good that you're intervening as early as possible. But the key is I don't know if you're seeing a doctor, but you need to see a doctor and you need to consider medical treatment. Have you done anything? Have you taken any medication yet?
Yeah, I'm on finasteride, Propecia, and I will do a PRP session. That's the problem. Not all PRP is equal. That's the truth you have told. I have watched your life, and I'm very glad that I have now called you for the first time.
I'm glad that you have as well. So how are you doing on finasteride?
Yeah, I'm just feeling fine. I think it's good. I just when I take it, it's like I'm feeling relief. Well, maybe I have to take it. It's like when I'm not taking, then I have to fear. When I take it, I don't have to fear as much.
Well, that's interesting. Essentially, it is empowering to know that you are taking charge and you're doing something to potentially take charge of the situation, and that alone could allay and alleviate a lot of concerns. So it's interesting that you said that, because when I first started taking the drug, and I was close to your age, a little older. Even though no one really knew much about it, people were terrified of it especially at that point. Even though there was nothing online about it, but there were doctors who were saying that it was going to feminize me and all this stuff. I was still willing to give it a shot. I felt like I finally took control. So even before I noticed positive results, I felt better.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I'm also feeling tired when something like new stuff coming. You know, as I have watched you live, you know, as we suffer, we get tired of something new always coming. You know, they are not curious, and that's the problem. We have to take the option available, and people are so misleading and so. I'm just so, you know, I don't know why it's so devastating. It's problem across the, you know, globe.
Well, it's interesting. That's an interesting take, especially for a 24-year-old, that you're able to recognize that and kind of see through all the bullshit and recognize that, you know, a lot of the stuff that's supposed to be coming down the pike, a lot of the stuff that YouTubers, you know, and forum owners or whatever, and bloggers kind of leverage to get eyeballs, for the most part, will never come to fruition, sadly, and a lot of it's bullshit. You know, a lot of it is it is press release media. That's what I call it. You know, and there's information that comes out there, and then people want to be the first to get it online or talk about it or Reddit about it or whatever it's called, or Instagram about it or blog about it or do a video about it, and it really draws people in like flies. Now, Joe and I can do that.
Yeah, I think,
and the show would be, it would take on a whole new life and be bigger than it is, but we'd just be doing it for eyeballs, and we're not doing this for money. So,
yeah, of course. But it's really funny, you know. I think about this, you know, shampoo your hair. I think that's a lie too, you know. Sometimes I just wash my hair with only water. Sometimes I think when I do sometimes, I think shampooing is once a week or once a month. I think that's enough. I have figured out something that there's so many lies and bullshit we are told about. You know, as you say, there's so many lies. You know, misleading.
Yeah, go ahead, Jen.
You know,
well, I was going to say that the whole washing your hair daily situation, that is something that's relatively new in society. That wasn't even a thing until maybe 75 years ago, if that.
Yeah.
And it is something that's been, like, I've read about this. It is something that was pushed upon society by the capitalists that were behind the shampoo companies or the soap companies at the time.
Yeah.
And I've read about people that have decided to not wash their hair as an experiment to see what happens, and everything I've read about it, it's turned out positive. Where the first maybe couple weeks it's pretty brutal, with, you know, greasiness and just you know, difficult to style. But after about 3 or 4 weeks, it's as if they are washing it.
Yeah, but they stink. But they stink like fish.
Style. They stink like fish. But the oil settles down and everything just seems healthier overall, and you can still bathe. You just don't have to wash your hair. Like there's a difference, right? You don't have to use shampoos in your hair, soaps or whatever. So I think there's something to it. Like, I can't do it because I can't go for a month without being able to style my hair because of what I do. But
dude, if I go for a day,
I don't see anything wrong with
bald.
Experimenting with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I listen. If you're comfortable with that and you think you look good, you know, like that, and you don't smell and your hair still you feel clean, then yeah. Just
stay away from the patchouli.
Listen, you're 24 years old. You get it for the most part, and I would say, listen, for any young person, it's really important. These are important facts.
Yeah.
Most things you see online, or see in a commercial, read about in basically anything in life, most of what you see being promoted is bullshit. That's the way that it is. It doesn't matter if it could be any field of medicine. And I will tell you this, if something is new, if something is cutting edge, or something is just being introduced and it's the newest and latest, greatest thing, that also means that it's unproven in general for the long term. And no one seems to get that. People are like, oh, this is the newest technology, or whatever it is. I don't want to be the guy that gets the newest technology.
Of course, yeah. I'm not using laser or something, but I have experimental serum like aminexil, capixil, a lot of molecules. I'm using stemoxidine and some gray market like Floridil, etc., etc. And I think Floridil and the gray anti-androgens help, but I think, I have to fight in different fronts. That's the problem. I have to look at anti-androgens and stem cells and like antigen, this ultimate hair loss protocol. And that's the problem, I have to do the 4 things to make sure that that's the, reality.
Well, yeah. But, the gray market stuff, and the reason it's called gray market stuff is because we don't know where it's coming from. And it's possible that you're getting the actual agents from some people in the gray market, and it's also possible that you're not. You just don't know.
Yeah.
But listen, I mean, I appreciate you taking the time to call. I'm so glad that you listened to the show. And I'm glad that you've been able to kind of assess, even at your young age, that most of what you're seeing online is bullshit. And
I'm just being proactive. That's the key,
Listen, I wasn't able to get my hands in finasteride until I was like 28 years old. So that was
the problem.
That was a problem for me. So I was doing compounded minoxidil, and then I was doing these, a combination of minoxidil and retinoic acid. And I think that for a while things they improved, and I was able to kind of save a couple of years of progression. But then that shit just kind of stopped working. And then I was lucky enough to get on finasteride at a relatively young age. So
the one last thing I want to say, I'm not using minoxidil in case, because for me it can be a little bit challenging because I want to fight extra. I have to use.
It is challenging. It's a pain in the ass. I stopped using it. I stopped using it as soon as I felt really solid on finasteride, and I tapered off of it. I weaned off. It took me about a year.
Yeah.
So, well, listen, man.
Yeah.
We're going to run, but I'm glad that you were able to get into the show. Call us again.
Yeah, I'm glad.
And I'm sorry that, I know how emotional hair loss can be. It is a devastating disease of the spirit, in my view. And you seem like you're doing the right thing for yourself.
Yeah, man, yeah.
All right, dude?
Yeah. All right. Thank you, man.
All right. Thanks a lot. You have a good one.
All right.
Appreciate it. Take care. Thanks for the call.
Have a good weekend.
Do we hang up on the other callers or what, Joe? What do we do?
We can do one more. All
right. Joe says we could do one more. Hold on. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, Spencer. Hey, Joe. It's Frank calling from Toronto. How are you?
Fred?
Hey.
Frank.
How are you, man?
So, I'm doing great, thanks. Been watching your show for a while and saw some of Joe's YouTube videos over the past couple of years, and I really like them. I just want to just sort of reflect on my hair loss journey. I'm 43 years old.
Okay.
I started losing my hair early on, early 20s. Went to my family doctor, and he put me on Propecia. I was, I guess, 21 or 22 at the time. Worked beautifully, but unfortunately I had some negative side effects due to it. They weren't the side effect, nothing sexual. It was, I had these sort of unusual heart palpitations. Like I felt like in the sternum of my chest, like it just felt like there was pressure on it.
Okay.
So I got off of it.
Really? Okay.
But it worked beautifully. Like my hair grew back like beautifully. It worked like a charm. Got off of it. The issue with the chest went away. Going into 2010. So I was 31 at the time, and got a hair transplant in the front, and worked pretty well. Got back on Propecia then, figured, well, try it out again. The doctor's like, try it out again. I don't know what happened, but try it out. Worked with the hair transplant, took pretty well. Got off, then the heart palpitation started again, so I got off of it, lost some more hair in the front, got another hair transplant, got some more in the front, worked out pretty well. Got another, for about 10 years into my 40s, lived with fairly decent hair, losing a little bit in the crown. Last year, another one, the crown, about 2000 the crown 500, a little bit the front was patchy. Just, I mean, my hair is not bad. It's okay. So 3 hair transplants. Well, the first one I would say wasn't great. The second one, can I say the name of doctors on here? I don't know if I don't want to cause.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying anything. Yeah, not saying anything negative about anyone. The first one I won't say anything about. I don't, because it wasn't great. Second one's a guy named
You could
Dr.
say whatever you want. Tell the world, man.
Say
That's
whatever
what the
you
show's
want.
for.
Fair enough. So I got one from a guy named Dr. Simmons. He doesn't practice anymore, but he was quite good. FUT.
Cam Simmons.
And
yeah,
Cam Simmons. Yeah,
Good old
great
Cam.
guy. Yeah, very, very honest. And in fact, I called him about. He doesn't practice anymore. He's I believe he does a hernia surgery now. So I actually had his cell phone because he in the packaging and gave him a call. Say, hey, look, I'm looking at getting another one, and he was honest. He said, hey, listen, I don't remember you, but if considering your age and stuff, and if you want to get some work in the crowd, because I bugged him back in 2011. I said, I want some in the crowd. He's like, no, you're too young. I'm not going to put any in the crowd. So I'm worried at the front or the mid scalp. I don't want it to. So I took his advice and figured get some in the crowd. So last year I went to Rahal, and he put some in the back. He did a great job. Cam told me, said, hey, go to Rahal. He's he didn't give me a referral directly, but he said that if you're in the area, that's someone you can go to. And I liked him a lot, and he put them in the crowd. So it's been about a year since I've seen Rahal. Things are going well. I'd love to be on Propecia. I'm taking minoxidil, but that's my story. And I just figured I just want to kind of. I don't really have anyone to talk about it with. I'll be honest with you. I don't talk about this to anyone.
Who are you going to talk to about this shit? You know?
Yeah. So yeah.
I had to create a fucking show because my friends and my girlfriend at the time could not stand me talking about my hair anymore.
Yeah. Half the people that call are his family members.
Yeah.
There's no one actually that outside of any of the doctors I've gone to. No one knows what I've gone. No one knows what I've done. I've never talked about hair transplantation with anybody. No one on the planet.
I remember people looking at me like, dude, what is wrong with you? These are people with full heads of hair, and I'm just like, I got to find a way. I got to find someone to talk to. Even my shrink at the time kept basically saying that, and I hate to say this because it's I think this term is overused, but that I had not borderline. I had a body dysmorphic disorder, and I'm like, honestly, dude, I'm losing my hair. You can see it. It's not make believe. It's not like all of a sudden I think I have a big nose, or a bigger nose, or all of a sudden I'm standing in front of the mirror naked, like hating myself. I'm losing my fucking hair. How is that body dysmorphic disorder?
Yeah. Yeah, no, no one really understands unless you're going through it and hearing other callers. And I guess the only thing I feel a little, self-conscious is everything looks natural. I don't look like my hairline's decent. It's not amazing, but it's for a guy my age, it's pretty good. And the hair transplants have helped over the years. Have helped a lot. I think the only thing that the fact that I'm not on finasteride because of that issue. I don't want to run out of grass at this point. I mean, I would.
Did you ever speak to your doctors about potentially lowering your dose of finasteride?
No, but I've actually, since I've heard about this, and I've heard about it on this show, and I think that actually might be not be a bad idea.
I mean, here's the thing: you're doing well right now. If you're not actively losing your hair, you have to understand that if you don't see an active progression, it's possible that if you start finasteride now, you can kick yourself into an effluvium. That's always a possibility. So, you have to make a choice. Like if you see yourself actively balding, you see the progression. If you see shedding, stuff like that, great. Then that's an opportunity to talk to your doctor about getting back on finasteride, maybe doing intermittent therapy, maybe, lowering your dose on a daily basis. You could talk to your doctor about that. But if you think you're kind of holding right now, then I don't know. I might not fuck with it. I may just wait if it were me. I mean, what's your situation exactly?
Well, no. No. I'm like, it's decent. I'm it's a little patchy in some areas. When I comb it, when I grow it out and I comb it, it's fine. Just, what really bugs me when I'm like in an elevator light or like if
Oh yeah.
Or some areas it looks amazing. Like I'm like, holy, I look like, man, I got like the Sylvester Stallone thing going. I'm fine. And then it's like I go in the light and I'm like, holy, it's like I got a big fucking donut on my head.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all deal with that, but that's
I don't. I don't because I paint my head. If I didn't paint my head, I would deal with it all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
I hear you. Like the light in my kitchen's terrible, but then I'll see other lights, and it depends. But yeah,
I'll see myself in an elevator. I'm like, Jesus, I put too much paint on. That's what I see.
Maybe I should get some paint.
You know, listen, the paint works. I'm a unique case because I could tell people I paint my head, and if they don't like it, what am I going to do? I'm just like, oh, go fuck yourself. But
yeah, you own it. That's why you're an awesome guy, and you own it. That's cool. I have nothing. That's cool. I love it.
I have no choice. You know, to me, it's kind of like if you paint your head and you don't tell people, then you're a lot of people would be anxious about it. Like, I wonder if someone is going to see that I'm painting my head. Once you tell somebody you paint your head, they look once and they're like, huh, really? That looks good. And they never look again. Unless you're Specs and Joe coming to my house for the first time.
That was fun.
I opened the door. Literally, Joe runs behind me before he shakes my hand just to check the crown.
Well, Specs actually knocked him down, and then we both were like combing through his hair because he's tall.
Yeah,
dude, I just remember the looks on your faces when I opened the door, and it was just like, it was funny. We had been speaking, we've known each other for years, and we never met in person, and like everyone just froze. And I was just like, come on, ladies, it's cool, relax. Come on in.
And the camera crew was like, is someone going to say something?
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. All right, listen, man, I'm glad that you're doing well. Talk to your doctor about, you want to maintain those grafts. When you're ready, talk to your doctor about considering changing your doses of finasteride. But I would say, and I'm not a doctor, if you don't see yourself actively progressing, then you might want to consider waiting and see how you do before you get back on any meds.
It's been the same for guys. I saw another hair transplant surgeon in Toronto a while ago, about over a year ago, and he was sort of, he said, look, I think you're probably I think you probably hit the limit of your hair loss. I don't believe that for a second. I think you can go bald forever. So I don't know. I'm a pessimist, but.
Well, no, that's actually, well, you're a realist. Let's put it that way, because that's the truth. I know guys who start when they're 60 and they think they're fine. And then in 2 years, they are like full blown norwards, never coming back.
Yeah. So, Cam was honest with me. I mean, he said, look, my dad lost a fair bit of hair in his wedding photos. He's 26 and he was 64 and he passed away. He had the same head of hair. He lost a lot early on, and Cam's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. What matters is you. Like, everyone's different. It's that whole everyone is unique, and you can keep a lot of hair or lose a lot of hair, but everyone is. You can't really go by what your dad is, your grandpa is. Doesn't really make a difference.
You know what? I call that out all the time, and most people say, well, I mean, there is obviously there's a genetic component, but when people say, take a look at your dad's side and your mom's side and see how far they progress, that's probably the pattern you're going to be in. No fucking. I've seen brothers just like a year apart, completely different patterns.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's so. Oh, I have a brother, and he's got a fair bit more of the hair than I do. So
yeah, that's the way it works, man. Well, listen, I'm glad you're doing well. I'm glad you had good experience. And
thanks.
You found some good docs.
Yeah, well, thanks for your help, guys. I appreciate it. You guys do so much for everyone. So.
Well, you are welcome.
All right.
And we appreciate the call. We need the content. We love hearing positive stuff.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, wait a second. What's this? Hold on.
I have no idea what he's doing. Did you turn your sound off?
I did. Hold on.
Ah, okay.
Why don't you give out the websites?
Oh, well, I was wondering if I should do that. Yeah, or if there was an emergency I needed to know about. The websites, starting off with, what is it? International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons. That's IAHRS.org. I like to talk about it as a safe place to start because it's a list of doctors that have met a certain, how can I say this, a certain level of competency. It's not just about the results. It's about how they treat their patients. It's about, do they educate? Are they just after a quick buck, or are they out to do a good job? And for the most part, it looks like it's the latter. They want to do the right thing for you, and it's a safe place to start. But no list is perfect, and no clinic is perfect. But if you're going to be looking for clinics, it's a good place to start. AmericanHairLoss.org, American Hair Loss Association. I like talking about this because, like, every week when I'm looking at hair loss or hair transplant stories, I always see some sort of reference to American Hair Loss Association. There's always a reference in ABC News or Wall Street Journal or Forbes or whatever. If they've got some sort of story about hair loss, you scan down through it, and somewhere in there they're going to say, as mentioned or according to the American Hair Loss Association. It is the de facto standard for hair loss and hair restoration industry when it comes to mass media. When I say mass media, I'm talking ABC News, Wall Street Journal, Forbes, you name it. It's been mentioned as a reference. My YouTube channel, if you're listening to this show or broadcast on anything other than YouTube, it is being broadcast live on video in YouTube or on YouTube on my channel. It is youtube.com/hairtransplantmentor. We do try to put the show on every Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Doesn't always work out because we have lives outside of this, and we're doing this for free, but we do try to do it every week, even though we're late, Rob Helmner. But let's see, my own website, hairtransplantmentor.com. It's a website I started many, many years ago, back around 2003, and it's had several versions ever since, as you can imagine, and the current version has my experience, my background, my history with surgical hair restoration from being 22 years old in the early 90s to my last surgery just a few years ago, which was an FUE by my doctor, Dr. Wong and team. What else is on there? The world's largest and most comprehensive terms and definitions, hair loss terms and definitions, hair restoration terms and definitions that you'll find anywhere on the web, and I am going to be updating that soon. What else is there? The forum, Bald Truth Talk. It's the most trafficked forum on the internet when it comes to hair loss and hair transplant surgery. It is moderated. In other words, you never know what someone's going to be saying, and a lot of people say nasty stuff. So it's moderated because it needs to be. But just like any forum, you need to take everything that you read with a grain of salt, because you don't know who is actually behind that keyboard and behind that alias telling you to have a surgery or telling you what works and what doesn't. That's one thing I don't like about the forums, but they're there. You know, if you're going to go to the forums,
or telling you where to buy term papers, because the spam is unfucking real, yo.
Yeah, it's getting out of hand.
Yeah,
but that's it. I think it's the websites. Oh, and every actually, I don't know when it comes on, but for Fridays. The UK Bald Truth, is it Friday?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Every Friday, new episode of the Bald Truth UK with Spencer Stevenson and Spencer Kobren is uploaded on apetojgentleman.com. You should check that out too. There you go.
And nice job, Joe Tillman. And I found a little ditty for you guys since you were asking about Joe from Staten Island. Let's see if we can make this work.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Spencer. Happy birthday to you.
And that's Joe in a nutshell. I miss the guy.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah. I wish that motherfucker would call in, but he's got a thing against Joe Tillman, so that's it.
Yep.
That's
Call us, Joe.
God He was a gem, you know? I have so many bits like that. I got to find them on my 360. All right, guys, listen. Until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you so much for listening. Take care.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the programme, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you.